what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. We're live today. Everybody's sick all over the place. Fitting for the shirt I had. I thought of what I was going to say right now, not even thinking about the shirt I'm wearing. I don't know if you saw in other news, not a topic for today, COVID-2's on its way. And
the Empire Strikes Back.
Boom. It's Palpatine and like three more stories trying to be the grandpa of a child. It's crazy. Disney had to revitalize it. It's a whole thing. Anyway, COVID-2. It's coming. We're here with the skeleton crew because everybody's sick, and it probably is bat soup. So joining me today, what are we talking about? We're talking about human connection is collapsing, and dating is just the first place we're noticing the cracks, but the ripple effect is going to be huge. Groundbreaking remote robotic surgeries where a patient was in Africa and the doctor was in Florida. And then we're going to be closing out the episode with a topic I'm just going to say flat like this. I ran from World War III talks. I tried so desperately to avoid them, but we're here and we're discussing it. So that'll be how we close out the episode. That being said, joining me in my co-chair, my good friend, Will Hubert, and running the keys, as always, the one we couldn't do without, Dougie Fresh. For our first topic here, we're going to kick it off to @Glub. That's her name. That's what she wants to go by.
Is it like the
GLUB?
Okay.
@Glub. That's where you can find her. I got to give her kudos, made a pretty poignant concept that I thought would be a fun way to start off our episode dissecting.
Is collapsing, and dating is just the first place we're noticing the cracks. I need you to think about it. If even the place where people are supposed to be vulnerable and open is breaking down, what does that say about everything else? I'm going to try to piece this all together, so please, for the love of God, stay with me. So, you guys remember cable? Yeah, that dusty relic from the past where television didn't ask you who you were. It just told you what was on at 8. That wasn't just nostalgia. It was infrastructure. Even if you were a Disney kid and I was a Cartoon Network kid, we still shared the same programming blocks, the same commercials. Even the act of waiting for a show created synchronicity. We were culturally braided together. Now, we lack a base note. And I'll say it, and you all know it. It's social media. But social media didn't just fracture our milestones. It splintered our identities. Talk about the dark side of hyperchoice, am I right? The capitalist illusion is that more options gives you more freedom, which equals more happiness. But too many options does not create freedom. It creates fragmentation. At first, it does sound utopian. You get to be whoever you want. But what's the cost? There's no longer a collective we. And human beings ache for shared meaning. With 1 billion streams, who's swimming in yours? Now, before phones, we already had to deal with the loss of synchronized experience. It's that invisible cliff in your late 20s where everyone's timelines quietly split, and you can't even name the moment it happened. You're not in a classroom reading Hatchet anymore. The birthday parties stop, the school dances stop, the hangouts stop. Then one friend gets married, has kids, another's in grad school for 8 years, another vanishes to Pennsylvania. Making friends has always been hard outside of shared experiences. But at least back in the day, they had porches, church basements, arcades, bowling alleys, places where presents didn't cost $14.99 and a 2-drink minimum. $5 got you a soda, a game token, and a shot at belonging. And now in 2025, inflation made socializing a luxury. Phones replaced presence. Bars replaced community. And everything's tethered to a transaction. That disorientation doesn't just live in our wallets. It's in our timelines, our algorithms, our attention spans. The fragmentation isn't just physical anymore. It's psychological. Everything is out of sync. I'm binging this, you're doom scrolling that. Someone else is deep into a 47-part Icelandic YouTube docu-series about moss farming. There is no shared soil to grow in anymore. And when you do find it, it's scattered geographically. And this is the lovely caveat. People do find their tribe online, and it's freaking beautiful and very valid. But what is someone supposed to do when their online tribe is in Portland and their soul is dying, living with their parents in Columbus, making $20 an hour, has $20K in student debt, and a savings account with a whopping $104? Who's paying for their trip or for them to move across the country? So not only is this person now sad, there is no one in their area that gets them like the Portland people, they can now be sad about the fact that they are too broke to be in proximity to them. Physical presence regulates us, psychologically, biologically. Our nervous systems are social organs. You can FaceTime your friend 100 times, but it won't slow your heartbeat like their hand on your shoulder. It's not about people who get you. It's about people who can co-regulate you. And if that's not local, your body still feels alone, babe. This makes me think of Catfish, the TV show. Catfish was so haunting and so ahead of its time. It was people building emotional intimacy without physical reality. Miles apart, often living completely different lives or fabricated ones, but still clinging to this fragile thread of digital belief. And it wasn't just about deception, it was about desperation. It started with hope, but the ache came from the distance. We watched it like an anomaly, but it was a warning. Now dating apps became a norm, and people feel more understood by someone 2 time zones away than their own neighbor. And a lot of people give up on community because online offers a better one on Discord at 50% wholeness.
Facts.
But our soulmate could have been at our local music in the park every Sunday for the past 3 months. But we wouldn't have known because we gave up going out locally and resorted to internet tribes. So maybe it's not that dating is getting harder. Maybe it's that connection itself is unraveling. And dating's just the canary in the coal mine. It's where the unraveling hurts the most. Because dating forces us to admit we want to be seen. We want to belong. We want someone in the room who laughs at the same joke because they watched the same show. We want a damn bass note. Someone who gets the reference. But the references are gone. The timelines have shattered, and we're all looking for resonance in a reality built to fragment us. Listen, I'm not saying throw your phone in the Pacific Ocean and start a commune. Like, be real. I'm gonna scroll TikTok after I post this, okay? I do like the internet, and I do find meaning here. But I also know it's been melting my sense of time and self since 2017.
Yeah.
So maybe we just like log off a little longer than we're used to. Maybe parent ourselves. Like, okay, dude, it's 10 p.m. Put your phone in the mailbox. You'll get it back in the morning.
Oh, no,
Sounds
I don't
dramatic,
go
but
there.
is it really? Look around. Feels like we're kind of at that point in history, don't you think? I'm just saying, nothing online is ever going to scratch the itch of not showing up for your own life. So let it be awkward, let it suck, log off a little longer, let it be boring. That's how something starts. And who knows? Maybe someone else shows up with you too.
Oh, you know what's funny is I see the whole time she's talking, the background, it looks like a very specific scene where I short circuit into managerial mode and I know someone's looking for her ass. Where is Janet? Oh, she's making a TikTok with the case files in the back where no one's looking. And she's telling everybody how we're losing human connection.
Oh, a lot of words there.
There were a lot of words.
Let me drink them down.
Yeah, good thing we had some wine to carry us through that. No, but here's what's funny. She gets her kicks in like capitalism and whatever else. But the true heart of what she's saying, I think reigns true. We're losing shared experiences, and we justify the loss of a real shared experience because in our world, we have internet tribes. I love that term that she comes up with. We have our online tribe. And while we're losing the real community tribe, right? Like she said, church programs and after school programs. But one of the questions I'm left posing to the round table here is, she makes these claims, and it really makes you wonder, is she talking about these new evolving times that are, melting away our human connection? Or is that just part of the feeling of growing up? Like, time does feel like it's going faster, but also you have a much better perception of time. Yeah. Like, my mom could have told me, your birthday's in October 100 times over. Dude, we got Christmas, we've got Easter, we've got summertime, I'm going to Papu's pool. Like, then my birthday just stumbles upon me. We're like, oh my God, that's 3 weeks away? And then we just start a countdown. Like, at a certain point, time was just fantastical. That's also when time felt to move the slowest. I also had nothing to do. I was like a dog. Yeah. I kind of just sat there waiting for camp to start. Like, I'm sitting there keeping myself entertained until mom takes me to football camp. Then I'm like doing that for an hour. I'm babysat, and then I come home and it's like, wait until the next thing. Now it's, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to do my whole life. And it's bleeding through your fingers.
It's like a 4-minute video saying, hey, go to the local museum. No.
I got to be real. The person I'm going to bump shoulders with at the local museum, not the online tribe, way more fun.
We're jumping out the bus, man. No, she's got good points, and it's like, it is a part I agree with, dude. Funny enough, we got halfway through the video, and I turned my notifications off on like 3 apps. So I was like, yeah, these annoy me. Like, these right off the bat annoy me. It's the concept of time, and as you get older, you just like make different priorities. Like, at what you want to shift your life towards. Right. But as like a kid, it's like you have like no direction. Like you said, you'll go to football camp, and then you get home from football camp. It's like, oh, I got school the next day, followed by football camp. But it's like when you're at school, I mean, half the time you're just sort of BSing. We're just being babysat. Now it's like, oh, I babysit myself.
Right. But I do think there's something to be said about the moment in time that we're currently experiencing. Things are evolving in such a way that maybe there is a real reflection that can be had about, in 2005, if your cousin told you, I'm on dating websites, you'd be like, oh my God, did you know Ryan is an incel? And the whole family's talking about it.
Dude, the best part is he's on a dating app that he has to be at a monitor for.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm at my work desk in my house trying to find Friday night plans.
Well, and it's just hilarious that, okay, you've got that one cousin that in 2005 would have been a recluse, and today, that's everybody.
Yeah.
That's everybody. And then you're sitting here going, Tinder's declaring that they are going to allow users to filter the app by height. And it's like, you just slashed
I'm so screwed. For those out there who can't tell, I'm 5'5". I'm not a tall glass of water. I'm already cut by half, literally.
That's hilarious. I mean, it's enforcing, talk about Darwinism, like something that would have taken an evolution, generations, one generation, a whole population just cut.
Yep. Yeah, I'll see you at the top.
So I think we are seeing it in this realm. You go to the local bar, she makes a joke, it's $14.99, you're losing half your mortgage and you're paying for just a couple drinks in the evening. And you go turn to your left and you're like, hey, how's it going? And you just happen to be those couple inches too short. It instantly becomes a microaggression. Whoa, who said you could talk to me and just, I'm a victim now. Guys, look at me. But you know what? Don't go in public.
Was that a pun?
What?
Microaggression? Self-burn.
But that's what they claim. So it's just funny that it happens to balance our short asses.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think though, I don't know, speaking for myself, like in my early 20s, like I definitely felt that kind of dread more. Not the height thing, like that never goes away, but just like that kind of like tribal kind of attitude, like you kind of like find yourself in at least for me, post college,
Right.
kind of like I had like my group of friends you go out, but it was mainly to just like bars and stuff now. It's like that's when I hit my like later 20s, like I found like other avenues to like meet people and kind of like socialize and find new, I guess I won't consider it a tribe, but like hobbies, interests, to kind of away from like what the standard norm would be considered.
So building off of that,
Yeah.
we work with a person that honestly is too smart for her own good. She's brilliant. And one of the things she just grabs me and says, I'm pulling my friends and I want to know what kind of media do you consume and where do you get it from? And I'm like, I scroll Netflix, Hulu, any of those anymore, and it feels like I'll scroll forever and not find something I'm really interested in.
Right.
And so maybe once every couple months, there's something that draws me to Netflix but the only thing that I can really surf anymore is Max. I get really everything from YouTube. And, even now, my pool in an infinite pool feels pretty shallow because it's just the things that I like. And YouTube really does make it hard to find, like, unlike how it used to be, I have a hard time finding other accounts that aren't generically like forced upon me that are similar to the ones that I follow. Yeah. It's like, you've got infinity, but I could only see a small pool. That being said, I go, predominantly YouTube. I'm consuming podcasts. Obviously, I'm biased, but that's kind of the realm where I get it from. Who? And now I'm like, I'd love to tell you. But, first it's like Dave Smith, boom. And the next one's like the person that I told her that is probably the number one that I'm sitting there like, I can't tell you. And she's like, huh? And I'm like, this is the most hated person. And she's like, huh? And I'm like, have you heard of Candace Owens? Everybody hates her right now. And she's like, how do you spell that? O-W. And I'm like, you've never heard of her? No. I'm like, well, good. Then you don't hate me right now.
And you might want to stay away from that.
But, what's beautiful about this is we kind of, to this young girl's point, to Glub's point, we used to have shared soil to grow in.
Right.
And what was very unique about the inquiry that this person threw at me today is the reflection that you could have an entire friend pool and you and I have a couple that overlap, but then the vast majority are in their own realms. Mm-hmm. We're all overlapping in some ways, but in more ways than not in other tribal communities. And if you look at you're in Timcast, you look at the Timcast community, their Discord or whatever, of those people, they all have a different like web of people that they're connected to.
I would consider it like their community.
Right. Well, no, I don't think they have that.
Like
they share Timcast. They share Timcast. So take population of 100%. I think they're all fractured into I watch Timcast and I watch Rick Glassman. I don't even know who that is. I watch Timcast and I watch Bad Friends. Like, I think it's so diverse, even for a Discord of people that all share this fandom. Everything else is also fractaled into their own worlds. And that's interesting because, as she points out, you may have watched channel 66. I watched 65. He watched 64. We all, being 90 kids, know Cartoon Network, Disney, Nickelodeon. We know that. So not only are you within the same fraction of channels, you're within the same viewing audience time block. You overlap. You're a click away. And many times I was watching Hannah Montana at the same time as SpongeBob. And so you had that. We shared these experiences. Now I take into the world, you know who said the JFK files better than anyone? You should have heard Candace Owens. And they're like, all the crazy shit I listen to, like CNN and Fox News, and they all said she's a bad person. So, like, I can't even relate to most people unless they are within that pool.
Right.
And the problem is there's so many little pools that we almost don't overlap at all. When at the same time, humans are wired for connection.
Humans are wired for connection. It's not a luxury. It's a biological need, like food and water. Without real bonds, real accountability, real shared moments, everything starts to feel hollow. Scrolling through our friends' vacation photos doesn't replace sitting around a bonfire with friends. Texting happy birthday doesn't replace sharing a cake and laughter. Reacting to someone's Instagram story isn't the same as hearing the quiver in their voice when they say, "I'm struggling." Real community requires presence, vulnerability, time, and yeah, it can be messy and uncomfortable, but that's where real meaning lives. Next problem?
So
There was a point in the video when he says like it could be messy and a problem, and I think a lot of people today have trouble confronting those things with other people.
what do you mean?
Meaning like like when he said like some people have like the quiver in their voice saying like I'm struggling. It's like unless you have like a really tight knit community, like it's a hard thing one to admit that, let alone being the other person hearing that and like responding accordingly. It's like I think that's something today that 20 years ago may have been handled in like differently than it is now.
That's a great point. No, and the sad part is it's kind of like Doritos. How crazy is it that they're able to put a chemical in a chip that prevents the biological network that would normally flag I'm full? It shuts that off. So you really don't even feel you getting your full until it's way too late.
That makes sense.
And they also put other chemicals in it to where you crave the next, you need more, you need more, you need more, you need more. And so
That was me last night. Swear to God. Like, swear to God.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop eating.
it's
Doritos last
dangerous.
night.
So you've got a situation where they're literally hijacking our biology. And when, I kind of like your point, but when you get caught up in an algorithm, an application, like literally Facebook, the social, what was the social problem? The social dilemma. If you go watch the documentary, The Social Dilemma, it's a whole bunch of Facebook workers, algorithm writers who are whistleblowers coming out and screaming from the heavens that this is a dangerous algorithm that hijacks your biology. I mean, when the CEOs that are making the trillions won't let their kids use it, you should be taking note. And so part of the problem is, like Doritos, sometimes you just need a hug, like a real hug, someone to hold your hand, like someone to have that deep connection with you. And a like does just like a fifth of that. So you need more, you need more, and you need more, but it's never fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
So you get caught in this hamster wheel of like longing and needing more of it. However, you'll never be satisfied. It is an unquenchable thirst.
Yeah.
Russell Brand throws out some great points as well in regards to how we need connection.
That there is a deep spiritual appetite within all of us for connection, but we do not have a culture that presents us a discourse around connection. We have a culture that is predicated upon individualism and materialism. Your value, and this is, I think, across the political spectrum, and even in more compassionate narratives around identity, individualism is still enshrined as the centrifugal point. So I felt like that I was in a state of lack. I don't know what it is to be a man. I don't know what it is to be a success. I don't know what it is to have power. I don't know what it is, I recognize now, even to feel at ease, even to feel serene, even to feel relaxed. It's probably only by the time I got clean from crack and heroin and alcohol that I'd noticed that I'd been having an anxiety attack for basically my entire life. My life has been defined by addiction, and addiction is in part a lack of connection, an attempt to synthesize the connection to self, other, and God.
So the sad part is we're losing a part of what it means. There's a piece of what it means to be a human, and that's what we feed with our social interactions, and we're losing that. And we're trying to fill that void with all these different things, whether it be synthetic or literally or digital. But the last piece I have for us is the point that like we don't just get these bonds in intimate ways, right? So the whole initiating point of the topic is that how it's related. We're seeing the signs in the dating world, but really that's the canary in the coal mine reflecting all that is to come, and this disconnect and the loss of self and who we are and what we are. That all kind of surrounds the love aspect that we've all kind of innately understood, right? Our mothers, our lovers, everybody. But this is also something that you find in strangers.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost the malt shop, the arcade, the local basketball court that everybody would hang out at. You had a neighborhood baseball field.
Yep.
Those things are gone. And we're replacing them with Fortnite. I brought it up in past dialogues before, but I got this little cousin that like gets off. He's like 7 or 8, rushes off the bus to get on Fortnite. And they all, they don't even go for dubs. You would think that's the cool thing. No, they just go in free play mode and just do crazy, whatever. And that's where they can connect. So you've got these internet tribes that are developing, and that is like the most natural instinct. And what's crazy is how important even just connecting with strangers are.
Who talk to strangers were way happier than the people who just sat and did what they normally did on their commute. And it seems that the connections we make are energizing much more often than not. That yes, sometimes we can get into a conversation we don't like, but more often than not, it's like, oh, it's nice. It's nice to say hello to you. It's nice to complain about the weather together. Whatever it might be, it just makes me feel like I belong.
This is something that I have always done. I always said it was because I grew up in the Midwest, just very friendly. I just am always talking to people.
And that's the key. You know what's funny is our friends make the joke, I have an approachable face. Strangers will just turn to me and start talking to me. But honestly, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
It feeds off it, man.
I love talking to strangers. It's so fun. People just, and what's funny is some of these people that I have some of the more unique and inspiring and exciting conversations with, I bet you more people than not are like, that's the worst guy. He sucks. And it should tell you something, that a guy in his regular life who probably does suck, like there is the light inside. You can tap into it. Maybe you got to have the right smile. Maybe you got to be willing to absorb some of that negative energy and overwhelm it yourself. But it is interesting that I have more or overwhelmingly positive connections with people than bad ones. And, I see it kind of with my own dad. Like, you need to be willing. If you aren't willing to absorb the negative energy and you have to meet it, then you're never going to have a good connection with people. Like if that's how you have to interact with people, like some omniscient figure is keeping score. You pissed out like a bitch on this one. Like, no, I just kind of chose to rise above and, decelerated this whole interaction, and everybody left happy.
I mean, for our generation, dude, that just go to Twitter. Like, just go to Twitter, man. People are out for each other 24/7.
Yeah, nobody's out there just pushing the love. It's always and
the people that are pushing the love, you go to their comments and it's like hate. It's like, oh, you stop.
How about that girl or the person? Oh, excuse me.
We'll cut that.
Yeah. Post. It's live. There was this person that makes coffee on TikTok.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like I say person because I don't want to, misgender somebody. It's still June. Have some respect. But whatever they are, they make great videos. Totally happy, excited about their coffee. They're in it. Talk about a pro of the art, a pro of the science. This person's got it. Oh my God.
Dude,
the comments.
They're
And
mean. They are ruthless to this person. And I'm not even going to repeat.
yeah, we can't say it.
But
we can't say it because it all goes with like alive, turn that off. It's all very, very bad.
It's just a person making coffee like, this is my mocha I made this morning. Comments. Rude. You would have thought their team beat you in the Super Bowl, man. Like, holy hell, dude. I feel bad for that poor person.
Yeah, dude. So to me, it's like you're right. If you try to be online is obviously the worst parts of everything of us.
But like going off of like our generation, it's like why going off of what's her name? Glubby? Glub?
Yeah.
Glub. Oh, I have a Glub saying it's like, why is there a loss of communities? Just like, dude, don't put anything online or they're just gonna make fun of you. Just go for a walk. Just go for a walk. And like the poor thing is like that poor person is like making their coffee and then probably not leaving the house and going to talk and to normal people and just goes online and be like, I wonder what they thought about my coffee. It is awful what they say to this person. Oh my God. And it's not just her, but like that specific example, because I remember Tom Segura and his wife were talking about it like on like their podcast or whatever. And they're like, just go to the comments. Just go to the comments right away. And they were all like, oh, she seems really, the comments. Whew. Jesus. Dude, I would leave the internet.
As you should.
If I was her, I'd leave the internet. I'd post one coffee, be like, I'm retired. I'm retiring from coffee.
Okay. Let's start closing this topic. It's been interesting. Truth is, as much as we appreciate this next topic is going to tell you more than anything how important and evolutionary the internet and the connection of people is through modern technology. But if we don't take these major strides for humanity with also an acknowledgement and conscious mind towards the potential social dangers and pitfalls that can have a ripple effect, then we're going to find ourselves in a worse spot. So closing out the topic, I do think we need, it's interesting, and I kind of like it that way. You know, if you look at like the 60s and 70s that we romanticize, like there was the rollerblading rink.
Yeah.
There wasn't much autonomy in figuring out where to go. That's where we were all going. And you just kind of were a tuna following the stream. This is where the pack's going. I'm going to get blue in the face talking about all of the deficiencies and problems that we got in front of us. But some of the cool things about it is it's forcing you to find a way.
Yeah.
In a world where there's too much to do, you're a lost fish at sea. Where are we going to go? We don't have the mulch shop. We don't have the rollerblading rink, church, whatever she said. You know, those things aren't magnetizing, polarizing, pushing us to these locations. So now, sorry, Doug, Darwinism time, baby. Do or die.
Yep.
And you either figure it out and find a way, or it's gonna leave you behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think we need shared experiences. You can find those in digital realms like these internet tribes, but those need to be on balance with real shared experiences. Kudos to a guy that takes his evenings and goes and plays on a baseball team. You know, join a golf league. Don't be afraid to be paired up with someone you've never spoken to before, because inevitably something as defenseless and calming as golf, you will leave with new friends, connections, and personalities in this life. Even if it's like, man, that guy
Golf
sucks.
is only calming when you're as good as you are, Alex. Otherwise,
You know
it's
what?
very frustrating.
Hey, man, I've had some rough days out there.
You know what? I'm going to take it.
Hey, take your win.
Take the wins where you get.
I've had some frustrating days.
Well, you beat everybody last time we went golfing. You destroyed everybody.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the win.
So she makes a great point, Miss Glub makes a great point when she acknowledges that we're social organs and you need to rep those muscles and you cannot starve them of what they need. When I pose the question of, is this a question of age, is this just naturally growing up, or is this a sign of the times? I think it's a combination of both. I think she's experiencing the headaches and the realizations you're confronted with as you get older. When you bring up birthdays, birthdays stop. That isn't because you're in the future. It's because you're 25 now, honey.
I was gonna ask. I was like, I wonder how old she is, because she sounds like an individual.
She's probably 20.
She sounds like she's in her mid 20s, and it's like, oh, life is different than it was 2-3 years ago. It's like, yeah.
I think she makes an interesting point about how there's too many options right now,
Right.
and that is going to have an impact on community, but also, like I had acknowledged, it's going to force, like Jurassic Park says, nature finds a way. So, like, the communities are going to make themselves. Like, they'll find their way.
Why'd you do the T-Rex arms for that?
Didn't the T-Rex say that?
No, the T-Rex didn't say
no.
that. I think it was Jeff Goldblum.
It was Jeff Goldblum. Yeah.
He could be a T-Rex.
Ah.
He could be a T-Rex.
Put on some glasses. And
Jeff Goldblum didn't do this. But I also want to point out or comment, like, in passing, about how this whole thing is melting time. We do need to be audibly conscious about how I can plug into TikTok for 2 hours and be like, whoa, that did feel like 5 minutes. Like, whoa.
Dude, those slow Sunday mornings when you're slightly hungover, just kind of doom scrolling. Next thing you know, it's 10 o'clock and you're like, I gotta eat.
Yes.
Like, I gotta eat.
I can't say I know that feeling.
Oh, Mr. Doug doesn't have the TikTok.
I don't.
Write a book about it.
I feel happier without
Doug
TikTok.
But Doug, what else do you do with your time? Are you building Noah's Ark?
He just sits and looks at a table or at the wall. Stuff.
He's sending
Doug
us.
just looks at the wall.
He's sending us Doug's.
No, I'm
dubs all
sending my
morning.
dubs exactly.
So
Someone's gotta
when
stay
presented
informed.
with the full premise, I do think connection is unraveling. But as it unravels, it's spinning in a whole new way, and this is our opportunity to spin it how we see fit, how we find it to be the most beneficial and fruitful. I do think we need to be weary of online guiding that and be conscious of the fact that online is highlighting the worst parts of humanity. When we talk about the coffee girl that's just trying to be like, this is how you make good coffee, and everybody's like, jump off a bridge. It's like, whoa, this is a very nice human being.
0 to 60,
So,
man.
Dude, you should see this poor
That's
person's
like the
comments.
nicest comment he just said.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, you should see them. They're terrible. So it's like online and more so than anything, because that's become the thing.
yeah, it's like kind of a bit, and
Yeah.
it's like I don't think she's in on it though.
Well, I think she's kind of, if I've seen her in an interview and she's like, also, it is helping with the algorithm. So
I'm sure it is.
tell me it 10 times over. I'm still not going to the bridge.
There's no reason she should have popped up on my For You page, but I go through the comments enough. I know why she did. I know why she's here.
So I just want to end my point on online is highlighting the worst parts of humanity. So we need to be conscious and wary of letting that be a strong dictator on how we let it mold that future. Will, wrapping thoughts.
Similar to yours, you just got to be not afraid to step outside of your boundaries, and the boundary itself could just be the internet.
100%. Doug, wrapping thought.
I think it is crazy that, like, back in our day, it's like maybe you friended someone on MySpace at the time, but you were seeing that person in person still too, because it hadn't exploded to the way where now you're friends with people 1,000 miles away that you never see.
Isn't that
It is
crazy?
completely different now.
So I'm realizing that my Doug is a robot video isn't queued up for our little intro on the robot here.
Is it Robot Doug or is Doug the robot?
Doug, oh, there it is. Doug's a robot. All right, let's kick off this this next segment here. Evening's feature film, Robodoc. No, tonight we bring you into the operating room here in the United States, but also 7,000 miles away. In a first for the medical field, a patient in Angola, Central Africa, underwent prostate cancer surgery performed by a surgeon stationed in Orlando, Florida. It's a monumentous step in healthcare where remote robotic surgery is bridging continents. Fernando de Silva, a resident of southern Angola, received a prostate cancer diagnosis in March. This past June, he became the inaugural participant in an FDA-approved clinical trial aimed at testing transcontinental robotic telesurgery, as reported by ABC News. The trial marks a pivotal shift, bringing world-class surgical expertise directly to patients who would otherwise lack access. Here's how it worked. Dr. Vipul Patel, medical director at the Global Robotic Institute in Orlando, took the helm, literally, of an advanced surgical robot via console. Using high-precision controls and enhanced visuals, he guided robotic arms performing the prostatectomy. As again reported by AP News and ABC News, the setup depended on top-tier fiber optic cables to minimize latency, which was a vital factor in accuracy. Remote surgery isn't entirely new. Remember Operation Lindenberg in 2001, when a French surgeon in New York removed a gallbladder in Strasbourg across a 6,200 kilometer link.
It was a different robotic system, it was different telecom, and the procedure was successful, but it wasn't really reproduced for this whole time, 2 decades later. And the reason is the robots weren't quite compatible, the telecom was still slow, everything hadn't come together yet.
The potential implications are staggering. Less invasive procedures, quicker recovery, and reduced need for travel. Dr. Patel emphasized the humanitarian promise, quote, "There's so many underserved areas of the world that could benefit. It could empower rural clinics across the U.S. and overseas to connect to master surgeons in real time, even in ambulances or emergency settings." Patient safety was paramount. A full surgical crew was on site in Angola, ready to intervene if connectivity faltered. Dr. Patel explained they had a plan A, B, C, and D, ensuring seamless takeover in case of telecommunication issues. This layered surgery highlights that while cutting edge, remote surgery is far from replacing local teams. Rather, it enhances them. Now that this procedure is complete, Dr. Patel is compiling the data and preparing a report for the FDA, hoping to expand the trial and increase the number of remote surgeries performed. This trial could pave the way for a future where geographic boundaries no longer limit access to top-tier surgical care. So in conclusion, what may have sounded like science fiction is now unfolding in real time. A surgeon in Florida operating on a patient in Africa. It was, as Dr. Patel noted, a small step for a surgeon, but a huge leap for healthcare. As we watch this trial's results, one thing is clear. Medicine is reaching across oceans, and the future of surgery is no longer bound by geography.
Wow. That is crazy. It is cool the way modern science is just sort of like moving continuously forward, but like you hardly hear about it.
Right?
You know, like I didn't know about this, and this is what ABC News, like the nightly news after 5.
Right.
It was like in between, like, oh yeah, this guy's house burned down, and the weather is next, and it's like, no, we should probably hear more about this.
Well, I don't know why I'm trying to type while
Womp,
you're
womp, womp.
talking, and it changed the view. I want to get exactly when that Lindenberg surgery was, because that was the first
2001.
one to. Yeah. Okay. So 2001, as Dr. Patel points out,
Using dial-up internet.
it literally took 24 years to get to a point where we're doing it now with fiber optic cables through the ocean.
Yeah.
Think about that, man.
Yeah. I wonder how, and that's the thing.
To
It's like
Africa.
that the amount of resources that have gone into it, and the fact that it's like, oh yeah, our plan still has A, B, C, and D in case it goes wrong.
Can I tell you why my brain's wired bad? Because right off the bat, my instinct is crude, rude, and accurate. That's just kind of how the thing goes. And my instinct, as soon as I saw this, was, any chance for developing Africa's medicine to having that guy there? Gone. he will just do it from Boston. So
I mean, that's
you'll
probably-
never have that medical establishment developed in Africa. It'll just be like further developing the first worlds that will like extend the robot.
But is this that bad though? Because think about it, are they really getting that many great, amazing, top tier doctors there? You know, think about it. People.
They
come
would
to-
have had to
Well, think
if
about it,
he
though.
couldn't do it from Boston.
People come to Cleveland because our heart surgeons are one of the best in the country. Now people won't have to travel to Cleveland. Our Cleveland Clinic surgeon can do it wherever you are.
I
It's
agree,
pretty
but
cool.
could we agree? 1,000%, Doug. Pretty cool. Totally
And
agree.
I think it would be better for Africa because then they're getting actual doctors that know
I
their
disagree.
shit.
Let's just say we could never put cables through the ocean. Let's just say whatever, something prevented it.
Then
Angry
Russia
sharks.
wouldn't have anything to attack.
There, sure, whatever. Let's just say
Next topic.
we couldn't do it. If we fast forward the timeline where you have to keep, you got to keep coming to Cleveland to get the best heart surgeon. Like you got to keep coming. At some point, you're going to develop better heart surgery elsewhere. Probably it won't be as good as the Cleveland Clinic, but because you can't bring the Cleveland Clinic to Brazil, you're going to do your best to develop it there. So I'm just saying this is fantastic, and this is going to change medicine as we know it. But one little symptom is Africa is going to stay Africa.
Oh, I mean,
We'll just help you from Orlando, and then I'm going to Disney World. Hey, Doc Patel, where are you going after this gallbladder removal? I'm going to Disney World.
I'm going to Epcot. I'm drinking around the world.
I'm going to Epcot.
I-
Okay, so I actually went to Africa. Then I did a.
Oh my
At the
dude,
Animal Kingdom. At
dude.
Animal Kingdom.
Oh my God, the Dr. Humor would be so good. Oh, where are you from? Africa. I was just there.
I saved a human.
Meanwhile-
I actually birthed a baby and saved a mother from Orlando.
Oh God.
What's crazy is how
We gotta
much.
build back the
Well,
community.
no.
That's what'll fix
Now,
it.
how long until we just cut that surgeon out completely and it's an AI doctor with controlling that robot just doing it? That's the next step. You're talking about us improving our stuff. That's the next step. AI robot.
Wow.
Don't have you told them this? I don't
Doug,
think
do you
anyone-
live in the future? How much does Star Trek feed you?
Hey, even Star Trek had actual human doctors, man, because they
Yeah,
knew
well, it wasn't
they
shown in the
knew-
60s.
No, because they
They had
knew
limited what
no
they
one
could do.
wanted
They didn't know
a
Elon
robot.
Musk yet.
No one wanted a robot to treat them. They want the human touch.
They were like, "Come on, Scotty."
And this is supposed to be a show with a bunch of aliens. They were always human doctors. Always human doctors.
That's fair.
That's fair. That's
You know,
fair. That's fair.
With the gems.
I think it should always remain the doctor in Florida, so he could continuously make the joke like, "Oh, I was just there," and he just left Epcot after drinking like 3 drinks. Now that is comedy.
Yeah, but if you remember all the Florida guy stuff, then we'll have Florida doctor, and then it'll be not as fun as the Florida guy.
That'll be less fun.
That'll be less fun. So go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, like it's. I hear your point. I do hear your point, and at the same time, there's nothing we could do about that, and like developing the nations to have like the same type of medical facilities and access to doctors that we have here. I mean, we're fortunately enough to live 15 minutes from probably the best hospital, one of the best hospitals in the world,
right.
and at the same time, it's like you got to wonder how many actual top tier surgeons are in Africa available for surgeries at any given moment, which I'm sure there are, but like evidently not for that procedure. So
Well, and again, it was a much more sophisticated procedure. So some of the benefits and of these advancements are you're going to get global access to expertise. The most immediate benefit is I don't even know. Democratization. Doug, come on now.
Hey, I'm not the announcer.
Dumb.
This is you, man. You should have pre-read your thing.
Wow. The most immediate benefit
You're
to
good, Eric.
democratization of care is that there's remote robotic surgery, which means a patient in rural Africa a war zone, or underserved part of the United States could access the world's top surgeons without leaving home.
Popcorn, Eric.
Yeah, this could help balance global healthcare disparities and save countless lives. So you could also consider the disaster and war zone relief. What I think is really cool is in emergency or combat zones where doctors can't safely enter this tech could allow skilled surgeons to assist without ever being physically present, minimizing the risk and maximizing the response. So like you could literally put these in the middle of a war zone where you wouldn't regularly put some of these,
It's
sophisticated
just like
doctors.
a little robot.
Dude, I want you to picture the beginning of Saving Private Ryan. And it's just this little robot like stitching, boom.
Something happens. Medic. Should have made jokes, but immediately as you're saying it, I'm like, that's kind of what this sounds like. It's just like a little robot dog just
No, I'm picturing Wall-E on the beach, just like
dude, imagine he's got like an emotive face and it looks panicked. Oh my god, I'm sorry.
There, you'll also get training and knowledge sharing. It could revolutionize medical education. A single expert could guide and mentor dozens of surgeries across the globe in real time, raising the standard of care worldwide. You also see speed and efficiency, faster surgeries, fewer travel delays. One of the things that came up in the interview with Dr. Patel is he's like, I can actually do better. I can see exactly what the anesthesiologists are doing. I'm actually bringing about better care. You'll also see less reliance on physical infrastructure, which could streamline healthcare logistics, particularly in countries with overloaded or fragile systems. We'll also see future integration with AI. Doug! Man, invest in a Doug. Does AI? Dude. All right, Doug, this one's for you. Rick and Morty's back. I want to picture a future where AI's got most of the shit covered, but then they've got just like a Doug plugged the fuck in the back room. Just like, that's how they get their little extra creative edge.
That would be
it's
Morty.
AI plus a Doug.
AI plus a Morty.
You're catching on. You're catching on. Every Rick needs a Doug.
I'm sorry, I still can't get over Wally on
Every
the
Conan
beach.
needs an Andy.
I still can't. I just still can't get past Wally on Normandy Beach.
Oh, that's the best.
I don't think I'm gonna. That's gonna be stuck in my head for a while. just stitching a guy up and
just boom,
just
dude.
like- and the
Picture
guy-
that scene.
and the guy getting stitched. Just
I need another robot. Dude, you can have a fleet of them. Like literally one of the boats is a boat of Wall-E doctors. Just
that would scare the shit out of me if I was the other side. I'd be like, "What are these things?"
and they just go off and they're picking up plants. Like, whoa, dude, what?
It's like they gave him like bad like footing, so they're getting stuck in the sand and they can't make it up the beach. Oh god, I'm going to hell. I'm so going to hell.
I'll be there with you. It's warm, just like Ohio right now. So over time, AI could
Ohio is
assist.
hell.
AI could assist or even automate aspects of remote surgery, identifying patterns, offering real-time advice, or reducing human error, possibly extending the capacity to areas without skilled surgeons at all. Some of the potential problems, though, and side effects are also worth noting. One, infrastructure inequality. The technology demands fast, stable internet and expensive robotic systems. I mean, that robotic system we saw with Dr. Patel, multiple $1 million.
Had to be for sure, no doubt.
Let alone
But again, like everything else, do you remember what a flat screen looked like to my dad at a Walmart in 2002?
Oh my
Multiple $1 million. Now you could get them for $50. That's a twist. The technology demands. Okay, so anyway, they're expensive. Many regions most in need of better care lack connectivity or funding to use it. So ironically, the leap forward could initially widen the healthcare gap before it narrows it. Cybersecurity threats.
Yeah, I'm already. Don't even read it. I'm out.
I'm
you
here.
lost me at that. You
Boom.
lost me at that.
Just like your Neuralink. just get hijacked. You're like, and you just start.
Some Iranian over there. It's surgery.
I told you shouldn't have done that. If a robot is controlled over the internet, it becomes a potential target for hacking or interface. Imagine the nightmare scenario of a hijacked surgery. This raises serious concerns around safety and sovereignty. We also need to be aware of tech dependency and dehumanization. As we rely more on machines, there's a risk of losing the human element in care. The soft skills of bedside manner, comfort, and trust between patient and provider are harder to replicate through a robotic arm and a screen. We also need to be conscious of displacement of local surgeons. If global, Doug, this is what I was talking about. If global experts can be piped in remotely, will developing nations continue investing in training local doctors? There's a danger of dependency, which could undercut healthcare sovereignty and self-sufficiency. And finally, here, we need to be conscious of the legal and ethical quagmires. What happens if something goes wrong? Who's legally responsible? The doctor's country or the patient's? What about malpractice claims? As the tech goes global, so must the legal frameworks, but we're not there yet. And the legal system, especially civilly, legally, is a quagmire. So with all those things, we need to be considerate of how this may develop down the wrong path, but also be excited about a major leap for medicine and mankind. We'll be able to do remote surgeries from anywhere, essentially. Imagine being able to perform a surgery in like the Arctics. We could put these now. Okay, totally side thought. I have ADD. Just picture like those islands of cannibals that like win, what is it, World War Z? What was the one from the guy from Sons of Anarchy? He was in that movie, Doug. Help me out here. He goes to one of the tropic islands.
Pacific Rim?
Yeah, I think that might be
With
it.
the giant robots and the
Nope,
monsters?
that isn't
No?
it. Because the guy from Sons of
That's
Anarchy goes to an
Hunnam.
island.
That's Charlie Hunnam.
I think it's
from
like
Sons.
World War Z. It's something with a Z. It's something.
World War Z
Zombie
was
movie?
Brad Pitt.
Nope, it's not. It's not World War Z. It's something with a Z.
Are you talking about Charlie Hunnam, the blonde-haired
No,
dude?
the guy
main
from Sons of
character?
Anarchy.
Well, he
Island
is
of
from
Z?
Sons of Anarchy.
Well, that's the guy.
But he's the main guy, but there's a lot of
Yep,
actors.
that's the guy. What's his name?
Charlie Hunnam.
Not Opie.
What's his movie? Does
Doug,
it
did
say
you know Opie died?
The Lost City
Very
of
sad.
Z? Okay, he goes in this. He's in this movie. It was a bad movie. That's
Never
why you
even
haven't heard of it.
yeah.
It's a bad one. So the Lost City of Z. He goes to this island and it's a bunch of cannibals. And he's like, I'm just trying to do research. And guess how it ends? They eat him.
Oh, I just
Shocker. Spoiler. So
Yeah, I was going to watch that, but guess not.
no, you're not. He eats them. It's bad. I saved you a lot of time. Very bad movie. But I'm just all right. We're way too off the beaten path now.
You did it.
I know. What I was trying to do was say, imagine that like tribe of cannibals that like the second they see another human that isn't the tribe, they eat them. Well, now we can like truly like Mars. We can experience and research these folks from a Wall-E. Just imagine just a Wall-E drops and we could perform surgery.
Whenever you say
But
drops,
really-
I just think of thanking the bus driver dropping Wally. You know?
That is not what I've been picturing. I've been picturing a duck boat from like D-Day crash landing on the shoreline and the drawbridge just dropping.
And out comes this
And
little wall.
yeah.
Did we come up, though, with the new Fortnite character, the Wall-E Fortnite edition? You know,
No,
get him
No,
out
No,
of
it's
the
21
bus?
Fortnite
Pilots.
21 Pilots, Doug.
No,
All
we're
we want is to play as Clancy. Stop getting off the beaten path. Hashtag 21 Pilot Fortnite skins.
We're not. We're
And
not, yeah,
we want them to go to the Super Bowl.
we're not hijacking.
Hashtag it.
We're not hijacking them for Wally. I'm sorry.
No, we're not. All right.
That would be
keeping us-
pretty good though. That'd be pretty, dude. It would go one of two ways. He'd actually get some like actual good data, or like we're just gonna be seeing him through the GoPro and he's just being worshipped.
No. Okay.
It's gonna be like R2D2.
Yes. Okay. Hold
It's gonna
on.
be like
That's where it
C-3PO in
ends.
Return of the
Don't
Jedi.
take us to the last chapter of the story. He lands and they have an instinct. Eat. And I just want to see them gnawing on this like, and it's like can't get through, and then eventually it becomes their god, and they're like, no.
Give him like the R2D2 feature where there's something pokes out and it's just like,
Yeah, a little zap gun. Shoot, shoot.
dude, that thing would be, it'd be like C-3PO in Return of the Jedi. They'd be like, ooh, ooh, We're all just like watching from like Seattle, just going like, this didn't go how we thought. Yeah, should we turn it
Science.
off? Should we turn it off? No, God, no. This is, we're live.
We're live.
We're live right
We're
now.
streaming this on Twitch as we speak.
Oh God, that was a good hijack. That was a good
Yes,
hijack.
yes.
That one was
So
worth it.
keeping us grounded in
Getting
this
grounded.
reality. What a cool development for science that Dr. Patel is bringing. He will be the first of many, this being such an instinctive medicine that he's done a million times, now being able to take it to places in new continents, new tribes, new worlds that otherwise would not be able to. I mean, this guy learned about his diagnosis in March. Gallbladder, or that was a different one. He had his total what it wasn't a vasectomy,
prostate.
it was prostate. Yep. Bingo,
Yeah, it was
thank you.
removing the prostate.
It was a vasectomy.
I slipped.
We got this
Freudian slip.
surgeon to do a vasectomy over 20,000 miles away.
With a multi-million-dollar machine.
Snip,
This is
snip.
going to be
We're
groundbreaking
gonna
for
put it on
science.
MSNBC tonight. You're gonna hear all about it.
Nothing like a good old snip,
I'm-
snip.
I'm
God.
shooting blanks.
God.
It worked.
That's funny. God, that's fun. Then you find out 6 months later you got someone pregnant. Oh my God. Damn, that's funny. Now there's your story, MSNBC.
yeah. You really dropped the ball.
Yeah.
You win for
You think we want to be
you want a
educated?
prostate? What? Okay,
Oh, God.
so awesome. This is going to be the beginning of Doug, you really blew my mind. And I don't want to gloss over probably the biggest point that was raised, which is this in conjunction with AI, which again, AI is going to have to piggyback off of many years, a large library of consuming human action,
Anatomy?
like the human practice of this surgery. They have to see when it goes wrong, what
Every
happens.
video will
the
be recorded from this whole process now.
multiple.
Everything they do using these tools will
Yep.
be recorded, thrown in a
Put in a
computer,
database.
analyzed, and eventually.
So again,
they'll
it'll
have-
take decades, maybe a decade at least, of consuming, compiling this data. But Doug, you're right. It's going to end with this, like Darth Vader, literally a crew of robots bringing a burnt marshmallow into the demigod. Wrapping thoughts?
I'm still stuck on Wally on Normandy Beach. I'm sorry. This is really cool, but like that completely.
Will, you
hijacked
really
my
got to
brain.
move on, buddy.
No,
we got a whole nother
Yeah. Do
topic.
you have a wrapping thought?
I think it's great. His prostate works now. I think they did a really great job. Okay, kudos to them. I need to see these Wally robots soon. That's all I
Oh,
want.
dear God.
Doug, wrapping thoughts.
I have not thought about Wally on the beaches of Normandy. I still think the human doctor is going to be a big part because we don't know what the future is really going to be, but in every futuristic shit, it's always a human doctor or a robot that looks like a human. It's never a freaking robot just doing it. It's always a human face. And I don't think that's
Interesting.
really going to change. I think people want the human face. So even if AI gets there, I think it's really going to be a rare use in the common world though, for a while.
really
We'll
hope
just listen. You could put a latex, face on that thing, and it'll just do its job.
Dude, I already think we got politicians like that, so I prefer our doctors aren't like that.
Facts. All right. Speaking of politicians that are robots, let's get to the end of the world. It's the end of the episode. Let's get into World War III.
We might be back next week.
Yeah, we might. We may not be. We had a series of tweets. I really did want to avoid this topic because, one, clearly the powers that be, algorithm-wise, just won't let us talk about, actually relevant world-waking topics. But this one was unavoidable. We have to discuss the shaking of tensions between Iran and Israel. We are not going to say the baby's name, the baby in charge, Bibi.
Baby.
We're just going to say Boss Baby.
Boss baby. I like that.
So Boss Baby in charge of
They look
the
a lot
Boss Baby
alike.
land
Yeah, they kind of do.
wanted to get in a fight with Iran. So we got Boss Baby Land and Iran. We're playing with algorithms here, folks. So we're giving you the code to understand ahead of time. So again, as I tried to avoid this topic because it seemed to be just a whole bunch of barking and no reality until tensions began to rise. And I guess Qatar gets a notice from Iran that one of their American bases are going to take an attack. So we clear all the people out. It takes a world charade attack. It's just like a play. And that frustrates our people in charge. We got something to say. You don't tread on me. We don't tread on us. You don't get to tread on me. So then we got something to say. We just blow up Iran. Well, guess what also has been reported today, by the way? It wasn't anything actually effective in terms, like, I guess the damage they did to Iran's nuclear bases, which are or are not there, or were or were not there.
They are, in fact, where they hit.
Yeah.
But like, you're probably talking the same article I saw where it's like, we did minimal damage, didn't hit the main stuff, and apparently set them back only months.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
It's a charade tactic.
That's it.
It was political.
Worlds of play.
It was political theater. And I think it was done by our side to appease both sides in a certain way. It's like, all right, we did our thing. They gave a little bit of a bark back, which is about as serious.
Well,
as a
so
bark back
yesterday
can
on Twitter, you have like this whole explosion, right? Everybody's like glued to their phones following the news because you have, are we calling for a regime change? Trump in one day calls for a regime change and then says regime change would be chaos. I would never do that. And we're not looking for chaos. So we're just not trying to do that. It's like, dude, you can't say that both things within 24 hours of each other. So we kept having this hemming and hawing of like, I literally saw at the same second, I refresh top of my feed, Charlie Kirk and all the Fox News and conservative pundits are going, we have agreed to terms and Iran has agreed to terms. We're good. Literally within the same second, AP News said, Iran declares they have not agreed to terms and that they are still, not making any commitments to that regard. What? So then Trump says within 12 hours, there is going to be a signature and an end to this. Bro goes to bed, and at 3:26, the Israel Defense Forces straight up tweets, like just in the middle of the night, in light of the severe violation of the ceasefire carried out by the Iranian regime, we will respond with force. And then they just throw all the bombs and just talk about stick in the bee's nest. Just
boss baby nation coming at you.
Boss baby nation. And so, of course, they don't do it when the big daddy's awake.
No.
They wait for Trump to go to bed, and in the middle of the night, they're like, "Wah!"
Dude, in the middle of the night, they snuck downstairs to play more Fortnite.
Yes.
And then dad woke up.
Quite literally, though, dad woke up.
Yeah.
And nothing was greater than, like, I like the comment you said before the show where you're like, this guy barely gets any sleep. You know that, like, he finally was getting a little bit of sleep, and the cabinet was like, do we wake him? Do it? And they're like, no, let him sleep.
JD Vance, just give him an hour.
Just
give him an hour. There's nothing you can do right now.
And Trump wakes up and immediately sprints to Truth Social. Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do it, it's a major violation. Bring your pilots home now. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States.
You know what?
I like how he tags all those.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As if his handle doesn't do it for him.
Yeah.
President Donald Trump, the breaker of chains.
The breaker of Khaleesi.
Dude, they're talking Nobel Peace Prize. All right. So then an hour later, not enough action for daddy. Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home.
Dude.
while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. Nobody will be hurt. The ceasefire is in effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States.
I absolutely love the way he tweets to this day. It is like so, and especially once we saw like the war room footage from like when he was running, it's like he's actually saying the tweets to someone. It's like he said that to a person. It was like all caps this, lowercase set, all caps this. Thank you for your attention to the matter. It's 4 a.m., dude.
Here's the best part. We're glossing over. So that's the Twitter scheme. But then he gets caught outside the White House and the press grabbed him. And we were just talking on the golf course this past Juneteenth, getting giddy and excited over our wonderful federal holiday. And you had made the comment, or we had made the comment amongst each other of how Trump needs his George W. Bush, now watch this drive moment. Yep. Like where is that? This is it. This is the now watch this drive moment.
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
President of the United States.
Love it. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Holy cow, dude.
That moment, like that, I'll never not, whatever happens after this, I'll be like, yeah, he dropped the F-bomb on Fox News.
But here's my thing too, though. All right, I'm listening to that. Love that. Why hasn't he said that about the Russia-Ukraine war? Like, what the F are they doing? Like, he's never once said that.
You know what? Very interesting you bring that up. One of the things that we could seamlessly weave into this moment here. So what is as this war is going? So I want you to picture Trump in the Oval Office, like in the war room, and he gets like, Ukraine's got shit to say now too. He's got to be like, one thing at a time. They can wait. So here's the Yahoo News. Trump's Nobel Peace Prize nomination withdrawn. Donald Trump's Nobel Peace Prize nomination has been withdrawn by a senior Ukraine politician who accused the U.S. president of appeasing Vladimir Putin. Alexander, spelled wrong, Alexander Berzhenko, chairman of Ukraine's Foreign Affairs Committee, said he had lost any kind of faith in Mr. Trump's ability to end the war. He nominated Mr. Trump in late 2024, revealing to the Telegraph that he believed it would encourage the president-elect to follow through on a pledge to end the war. Since then, Mr. Trump has largely abandoned peace talks after repeated rounds of failed negotiations and a very public falling out in the Oval Office with Vladimir Zelensky, the Ukrainian president. Quote, these appeasement of aggression encourages Putin to continue to attack. Trump just turns a blind eye to all of it, Mr. Manchenko said in a letter to the Nobel Committee. I lost any kind of faith that Trump will deliver in any of his promises. And again, I double back to you could speak. Okay, I think within his now cards on the table, full honesty. So here's where I'm at. I do think Trump has forces at play he truly cannot defeat, and he kind of has to work with them. Like if you ever did karate, it's much easier for me to beat you with your momentum than try to overpower your momentum. Your fist is coming. I'm better pulling it than trying to stop your fist. So I think Trump realizes he's in over his head. Mm-hmm. The baby boss people have full control of our country. And I think also the baby boss people also have full control over part of his family. Like, I really do think Ivanka's compromised with being connected to Kushner. So I think he's looking around and trying to do the best he can, while also, like, again, it's one of those, they shot me. So, like, I know the limits to which I can act.
Yep.
I think he's trying to, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'm trying to work with this enemy. And they just keep kicking beehives.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to deal with this, something that fights under the veil, the sheep wool that it throws over itself, the wolf. It's literally hiding as an ally, but it is using me and sucking me dry. It's a leech. And this thing, I think what he's dealing with is, again, using the momentum against him. Now you're going crazy. You all the bombs. He says the biggest load we've ever seen. So we gave you all the bombs. You used all the bombs. Your problem is, baby boss, I'm not giving you more bombs.
Yeah.
So I think part of this is, I don't have keep the okay, Ukraine, Alexander Milchinchik, keep your Nobel Peace Prize. I've got World War III on the verge of erupting. Yeah. Almost like that's why JFK was willing to die, saying they shouldn't have nuclear power. It's almost like he foresaw this is exactly what they would get us into, and we're stuck here. And then they killed him. Then they killed the guy. And then we're sitting here for 50 years. Release the files, release the files, release the files, release the files. They go, it was the baby boss dreidel people. And then we're like, okay, forget about it. Don't ever, we're literally never going to talk about JFK again. Anyway, coming back to the full circle, this is on the verge of nuclear war. And I could see a world where it's like, dude, keep your Nobel Peace Prize. I will worry about Vladimir Putin is not taking Ukraine at this moment. And my bigger fish to fry is you two people.
And especially too, it's like, you want to look at the wrongly spelled Alexander and be like, listen, guy, you should have taken the peace offer when you had the chance.
Right.
I can only care so much because, like you said, the beehive is rattling elsewhere. And it's like, I mean, you don't hear anything about that war.
Right.
You don't hear about Mr. Jumpsuit asking for more money. Because, like, Trump already has been like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. And then it is funny, though, when you say, like Trump, his wording was hysterical, the biggest load we've ever seen. That's funny. But it is true, because it's one of those things where it's like, you want to know why I think Israel did that? I think Israel did that because they were like, all right, we've used all of our munitions now. We need you and your munitions.
No, you know what? I'm going to take the evil Candace Owens' position. You know what I think it is? I do think it is, oh, you think you're in charge? We are the marionette controller. We pull the strings. We're the little New Jersey, the little size of New Jersey. No. We're in charge. So we're going to make you out to be a fool. We're going to let you make a public global declaration. And then when you go to bed, we are going to humiliate you.
Yeah.
To show you who really is boss.
No, I'm agreeing.
And you know what's funny is that was, I think, the straw that broke the camel's back. Let's have the conversation now about how Trump was really dealing with this divide, that his voter base turned on him. At least that's how Fox News was posing it. They're saying the MAGA people turned on Trump, or the MAGA people are like, you're not true MAGA because you're criticizing him. The reality is there was a huge voter base that voted for Trump, myself included, that was vehemently outspoken about, I don't know, dragging us into another unnecessary war where our American men die. For who? Another country? What? So I feel like Trump, he cares about the numbers. He cares about the polls. I think all of Twitter, the people that backed him, real people, no matter how much they tried to pressure them with guilt and hive mind mentality, pushing them to being like, well, you're not true MAGA. You're turning, like, you're hated. You're the problem. Guess what? All the people stood true. They were pissed. They were outspoken about it. I think Trump heard it. And then to wake up in the morning and get spit in the face by baby boss? No.
Yeah.
So then you wake up and you go, these people don't know what the F they're doing. Because don't piss me off. I'm willing to play ball up until a certain point.
Yeah.
But there is an interesting dialogue to be had about the Trumpers that turned on Trump. I want to get your perspective on this one because we got Brianna Chicken Fry, but I loved the response by Amy Main.
Like half of Trump's fan base turned on him and being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's doing this. I can't believe this is who I voted for. It was an open book quiz when you voted. I fear it was an open book quiz.
And this is why we say that influencers shouldn't speak on politics, specifically when your background and your knowledge base is not regarding politics. If the overwhelming population or even anybody in government actually listened to what an influencer had to say and took their opinion into account, we wouldn't have a country right now. You wouldn't have the right to sit there, Brianna, in your little sports bra, giving your opinion, speaking out against the government, because we would then be taken over by these countries that Donald Trump is protecting us from. And those countries don't like women, especially women who speak out against the government and speak out against men. But it's funny because you can sit there and you can do that because of the protections of the military and because of the protections that Donald Trump is granting us because of those airstrikes. But let me put a little correction out here for you, Brianna. I don't think that Trump's fan base is actually turning on him. The MAGA creators who have flipped the switch crazy enough are either exceptionally ill-informed or were just liberals in disguise. And as somebody who did vote for Donald Trump and who sat back and kind of waited for this whole situation to occur before speaking on it, I can say that I would rather have the trash take itself out now than have to work with them and have them sit in our space over the next 3.5 years. But let's get into this a little bit more. You do know that none of the civilian population was actually harmed in the missile strikes, right? We were taking out the ability for them to produce nuclear weapons, which they would very likely use against the Western civilization, considering they have been screaming unaliving to all Americans for 40 years now. So now you want to come out in favor of people who are actual terrors. At least the regime that are actual terrors, not the population of Iran. Do you also understand, Brianna, that many people who fled Iran and are Iranian citizens who live in America, but also in multiple other countries, were praising Donald Trump for what he's doing because they've seen the downfall of their country since the Islamic regime took over? So what you think that you're doing here and where you think you're getting at with all of this is not where you're actually going. You are just taking the headlines that you're seeing from CNN and ABC and all the other ill-informed influencers, and you're putting your opinion out there, showcasing your ignorance, which is quite un-American and also quite un-Iranian, at least if you want to protect Iranian citizens, the people who live there and the people who have been held down by the Islamic regime. How interesting. But again, this is why we don't go to ill-informed influencers for their political opinions.
Sorry, I kind of conflated the two. That was Megan Eleanor. One of the things that she raises is like for the MAGA people that kind of flip the switch, it's either that they're ill-informed or they're liberals in sheep's clothing. And I got to be honest with you, no. Like if it wasn't for him going on the TV and going, I don't know what the F these people are doing as they backstab me trying to, I don't know, bring peace. I really did not. I was not on board until that moment. Yeah. So you lost me. You didn't have me. You want regime change? We don't want regime change. You don't. One person, Boss Baby, wants regime change. You got to fix that. StreamYard's got to fix that. Boss Baby wants regime change. We don't want regime change. And so I look back at when you want to criticize what do you want? You want hive mentality? You want us to just blindly follow? Then you are calling for the exact same thing you criticize the other side for being. So you either need to be, all of us, at this point, I'm vehement. You need to be moderate or nothing. That's it. I don't care if you lean one way or another, but as far as identity, because shit, our whole system is sold out to identity politics, your identity needs to be moderate or nothing. Then if not, you're the cancer. You need to be willing to go, I look at two assholes, a douchebag and a turd sandwich, and I got to cast a vote for one of them. You are allowed to find the lesser of two evils, and we disagree on who that is. Well, but for the sake of our future in this country, we need to get to a place where we walk away going, they both suck, and I'm willing to criticize my guy as much as I criticize your guy. We just left 4 years where a dead guy was sitting at the helm. And then all of them, the second he's off the Iron Throne, were like, oh my God, we were manipulated. It was a dead guy the whole time. And we knew it. I'm writing a book to make millions of dollars about how I helped the dead guy hide the fact that he was a dead guy in charge of the White House. What? That can't be okay. So we must demand of each other the ability to criticize our guy and your guy and start, because what that will result in is in a beginning of eliminating the identity politics where I will defend this guy just because I identify as his team, as what is MAGA? That at some point I do have to sit back and go, has it become a cult?
Do you want my opinion?
Yeah.
I don't think it really has. I think it's a media propaganda thing. Personally, like, sure, there are maggots, as I refer to them. I think they're like a smaller portion. I think the majority.
I think so too.
I think the majority are kind of like sitting back. That's why when he tweeted about the regime change, I was like, this just seems like a bluff. Like something for me.
Interesting.
Really, something for me really like struck. Let me bring it back to when I said, like, this reminded me of something he did in his first term. I remember he had a meeting with Xi Jinping and he dropped that mother of all bombs on like ISIS. Yeah. And then like after that, for like a day or two after that, people were like, oh my God, is this going to escalate? Is this going to escalate? And it didn't really. And it's just like, I think Trump doesn't mind doing a quick show of strength and then going like, all right, you saw what I'll do. And I gave you a warning. And it was a warning. Like they said, no civilians, nothing like that. Because that's the point. It's political theater. We're all watching the theater stage. That's just the world military might. He doesn't want boots on the ground. He's never really been boots on the ground kind of individual. And I don't even think the hardcore. I think the hardcore conservative boomer people are. I don't think the majority of the voter bases this time around, the younger base that showed up, are. And I think for like Trump, like you got to think Trump's got a kid. I understand his kid wouldn't go, but it's like, in that age bracket where he's like, I'm not going to send these kids over there to fight this bidding. Now, the issue is, and it's like what Candace said, you attacked his ego. And that's the worst thing you could probably attack for him. And that's why he woke. I've never seen Trump like that, though. I've never seen that.
Well, he's never cussed.
I've seen him. We've seen him cuss in ways that, like, not that publicly about two nations, especially one of them is Baby Boomer Nation. So we're all like, oh, okay. He's pissed. Like, he's genuinely pissed. And it's like, if it's him now, it's like, I'm not sending people over there. I'm not sending you more stuff. I had this all set up. You and your beehives over there want to continuously do this thing. It's not going to escalate. I'm not going to let it escalate. It's like, look at the Russia-Ukraine thing. You don't hear. When was the last time you heard anything majorly past that ever since the scuffle at the Oval Office? Not much. Like, not much. Remember Jumpsuit Man was like, I'm going to get more money. I'm going to get more money from NATO. And they gave him like, what, $10 million? It's like, oh, yeah, no. It was our money. They don't give you the money. We give you the money. We're cutting that off. It's like with Israel now. It's like, I understand world stage. They're still Baby Boomer Nation. Because at the end of the day, it's like, oh, no, you still have to deal with me. And truth be told, I think they're going to take another shot at him. Because I don't think he's going to sway. And I do think he probably woke up and saw like kind of the reaction from the people like, no, we don't want boots in the ground. We don't want this to escalate. But I felt like I was one of the only people the whole weekend where I was like, by the middle of the week, the bombs are going to stop. They're going to stop this. This was a quick show of force. Just Israel don't do anything stupid. But once he says they dropped the biggest load they've ever going to see. And it's like, what? Are you going to ask me for more stuff? Why would I give you more stuff now? I'm not just going to give you more stuff. I already built you a dome to prevent more bad stuff. I'm not going to give you more stuff to go over there to do stuff.
Right.
You know, so that's why. But bringing it back now to Brianna Chicken Fry, who, funny enough, she went to Baldwin Wallace, by the way.
Really?
She's born and bred. She's from here. She's from here. She went to BW.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she went to BW.
That's why she's got it.
And then, okay. And then it's just one of those things where it's like you hear her go and it's like it was an open book quiz and it's like, yeah, the previous 4 years. The funny thing with Trump is he'll one day say regime change and the next day no regime change after I did my move. I don't agree with the move. But again, I've always viewed Trump as like, he's not stupid. He'll make questionable decisions that'll make you think he's stupid, but he's not stupid.
Right.
He's got a way to work around things. I think the stupid people are the baby boomer nations and the other beehives that are over there. And it's like, that's why they're all kind of popping off. But it's like, okay, let's talk about the other world powers that back them. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. Their enemies of their enemies are our other two enemies. I don't want to publicly name them, but we know who they are. You think they're going to just put their stuff over there now for them?
What do you mean?
Like the Iranians. You going to give them a bunch of stuff? Going to give them a bunch of stuff to pop off over there? You're going to send your people to pop off over there? No, we all know what this is. It's a political stage. The problem is, and it's like what you, Candace, and I all have in common. It's Boss Baby in charge, and he just has this ridiculous vendetta. He's basically Putin, just in Israel.
Yeah, with more power, more money, more influence.
Yep.
One of the things that was brought up by Megan Eleanor in that clip was a consideration that, what's funny is you can't get lost in one way of viewing it. Right now, what's so clear is how the land of the Boss Baby pretty much controls our whole country. And that's so much at the forefront that you really can't unsee how little New Jersey is controlling our entire country. One of the things that's been coming up a lot is like, how is that the case? What is it that you offer that we're willing to give everything? And it is that Mossad and Boss Baby Land are the best in the world at espionage.
Mm-hmm.
So they're great at getting information and compromising humans to get the most intimate information. And so it's a technology, software, and espionage network that beats anywhere else in the world. And so we're willing to give nuclear secrets, billions of dollars, really the keys to the kingdom for we're not getting the full buffet, but we're getting a significant portion of the library at which they're able to access. I'm so focused on this thing that's controlling us right now that you lose sight of talk about, I made the joke of our elections as a douchebag versus a turd sandwich. It's like, that's this war.
Yeah.
It's literally two shit heaps. And you're making me invest in either. And the most un-American piece, the Thomas Massey piece, go check him out on Theo Vaughn. That was an awesome listen. Theo Vaughn's the greatest political scientist in America right now. That should tell you we are in a fucking problem. But that being said,
Mr. Wright's Cardi B.
Yeah, there you go. At least he trumps Cardi B. The fact that even the Thomas Masseys of the world would say, we need to focus on home.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that becomes an illegal statement anymore. Why can't we just focus on the infant mortality rate that's the highest here and all that? That would be anti-Semitic. That would be a crime. So one of the things that balanced this focus I've had, someone made the point, they're like, if you had a PDF file that was obsessed with, and they're audibly, verbally announcing that's what they are, would you let them adopt?
I probably wouldn't. I don't think I would.
So on balance with this whole dialogue is, as she put it, a whole country screaming for decades piled on decades, unalive America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to. So it's like, I don't like what they're doing and how they're affecting our country, our politics, and our world, and how they really own us like daddy. But that doesn't mean you get to blow me up.
Right.
So this is a lose-lose. And at what point do I'm allowed to be in America and go, I just want to bow out?
Yeah, no, it's fair. And it's the rational decision to make too. It's just.
And thank God you scratched his ego. So that was the ending result
that
of
was
this
the
whole
thing.
thing.
It's just as I don't want to give him too much credit, but for as smart as Baby Boss Nation is, and they are very smart. What a dumb thing to do.
Wow.
Like really, what a dumb thing to do.
I think their ego got ahead of them. I think they felt so empowered. The fact that every politician in DC has a boss baby liaison, someone that they have to report to, that's crazy. So I think they had hubris. Their power went to their head. They thought, oh, King Ego thinks he's pulling the strings here?
No.
Take a nap. Let me show you who's really in charge. And I think they had a humbling moment.
No, I think they did. And that's why my initial point was, it was like, no, when he said they unloaded, it's like they unloaded to try to force our hand to enter. And instead he woke up and said they have no idea what the F they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
good point.
And that was kind of why I was like, I agree with Candace. It's like, I do think like they have unbelievable influence in this country, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like,
gotta play ball.
Weaker men would have caved to that. Bush would have caved to that because it wasn't really
Especially
Bush.
when his dad's telling him to, too.
It wasn't even just his dad. It was Big Dick Cheney.
Big
Like,
old
it was
dick.
like there was like a multitude of people around him that wanted to be in there. They wanted to be in there. Your old McCain.
Oh, my Halliburton gets to rebuild Iraq?
Yeah.
Demolish it.
Exactly. And for Donald J. Trump, in all caps, President of the United States, it's like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, his show of force was a quick, listen, Iran, we could do it. We can make it worse. I gave you this one. And then
I'm giving you the out.
I've given you the out, and I'll let you shoot back just a few. It won't happen, which I do find it funny that Qatar, that just gave us a giant plane, was like, they're going to launch them back.
Oh, no. Hold on. Just so I want to give like perspective for the audience listener that doesn't like understand the full perspective of global politics. That was, so Qatar gave us a plane. That was Iran giving Qatar a plane.
I know. Yeah.
They were giving diplomacy to Qatar, going, you'll have our back because we're going to allow you to stay in the good graces of America.
Right.
We're giving you the alarm so you can sound it to them. So one, I get to look at my people and say, I did this display where I tried to fight back. You get to look good and won't be squished like a bug to America. You get to still have the power of the plane you gave them.
Right.
And that's just diplomacy. But
I know,
I love that piece.
But it is. It's like it all
speaks to diplomacy.
Within 3 months, all these things kind of like fell in the hand. And what was the one caveat? And it was Baby Boss in the middle of the night when Dad went to sleep, wanted to play a few more rounds of Fortnite and just send in these rockets. And it's just like he woke up pissed. And it's like I've never seen him that pissed. Like that, directly mad. Like we've seen him mad where he's like, he'll pop off on like Twitter, or maybe he'll say something. That was like, dude, he just said F Israel on Fox News. How is Fox News going to twist that wording?
Yeah.
How are they going to twist that one around?
I don't know how my dad and my uncle are ever going to recover from that.
So it's kind of like one of those things where it's this whole political theater thing. But it's like, no, I agree with you. And like what Candace said, it's like they thought they were the big guy in the room. And it's like, you're not. You're still not. Like, you're still not there. Maybe if it was a different guy in charge, you could have been. But you're not. Now, again, we're speaking as of right now. We don't know what the next few days, weeks entail, but it's like, that's why it's like Saturday. I remember I was driving to the bar to meet my friends after the game, and I got the notification. And immediately that initial thought of dread, you're like, oh God, boots on the ground. Like, please don't do that. And then all of a sudden I thought about it and I was like, why does this remind me of like 2016 again? When like in his first few months he did that. It was like everyone had the same freak out. They had the same kind of reaction. Nothing really came of it. Just sort of stopped.
Yeah, this is almost like Rocket Man all over again.
Yes, it is. It's very similar. Not direct, but it's similar enough to where it's like, okay, are we going to... The only difference is Israel tried to push his hand further, and it pissed him off.
Yes.
And that's what pissed him off. Whereas last time, there wasn't that. They didn't do that.
So one of the parts of the conversation that we've departed from is how, while this whole circus is going on over here, you've got Ukraine that's like, hey, what about us? And is this thing didn't go away. It's still going on. In line with that, there's all these other social wars and personal wars and little things going on that in wartime and in the time of real masculine necessity all the BS falls away and we get to focus on what matters.
Also noticing how the mention of war is causing gender ideology and feminism to just like basically evaporate. I saw a guy talking about how he's paying close attention to this war because he's wondering if people are going to start getting drafted, and men have to be worried about that, you know, and women in the comments, like feminists are like, God forbid men have to do their duty. Now it's not toxic masculinity. When it comes to dying on a battlefield, we're all good with that. But any other time, it's this toxic masculinity. Like, now it's God has a design. We are all created differently. Women can't do what men can do. Yeah, I guess when it's going to cost you your life, your ideologies change real quick.
No, she's
I've
got
got a strong comment here. No, Will. Oh, I'm going here.
Doug,
All right.
pop off, Doug.
Women want freaking equality. We all can agree, all right? But they don't want to be drafted. Bitch, at 18, we all three in this room had to fill out the Selective Service Act paperwork.
Oh, boy.
All right, now we are all past the age where we are going to be drafted unless there's a huge emergency, and then we're all
Doug's going to do the physical, and they're going to be like, dude, you just broke doing a push-up.
Oh, I will be 4F. Physically unable. All right, but it doesn't matter. We're all too old now. We are all too old. All right, we are all too old to be drafted. We're past that age.
Hey, speak
So,
for yourself,
yay.
Doug. My biological clock needs me bleeding out on a desert right now.
All I know is they want to talk equality, then change that Selective Service Act, bitch.
Doug's dumps.
Whoa.
Hey, man, we all had to spend the last from 18 to 25, I think is the draft age. So we're past it now. We all
Ripping
had
our
to sit
teeth.
here going, oh my God, we're back in Afghanistan. We're back in Iraq. We could be drafted. None of us went, I don't want to die. We went, well, we had to sign up. What are we going to do? And those women just get to sit there going, fuck those guys.
Womp, womp. Womp, womp, womp.
Man, Doug is
preach.
out here.
Preach.
Equality really isn't equality. Let's just say that.
Well, exactly. And that's kind of the point I think she makes is like, you want equality until shit starts getting really equal.
Oh, no,
and you're
that
like,
woman,
oh, you know what?
I agree.
like the
I agree with
imbalance.
that woman in the video 100%, but that bitch saying like, oh, I don't agree because now it's going to cost me my life. It's like, nah, you're the problem, bitch. Move to Canada.
Doug is locked in. Doug is harping on female dogs.
For someone who's a 4F, he's really locked in. I love that you categorized yourself.
Well, that's what the term was
I
back in
know.
World War II, where like if you couldn't serve your 4F, like Captain America, Steve Rogers, he was a 4F.
Doug, that was you. We should get you Captain America juice.
Oh man, if they've asked me to volunteer for an experimental project, I'd do it. Fuck
Philosophical
it. How
question
could I
for
get
you,
hurt
Doug.
more? How could I get hurt more?
Well, you wouldn't. That's true. Well, the needle might hurt you. But that being said, Doug, are you, this philosophical question, would you accept becoming Captain America fit and agile, but you'll never be able, you'll live forever?
Well, what's the downside? I don't see any doubt. Live forever, and I
Ask
get to
Captain
be
America.
physically fit.
He had to see the people he loved die.
I don't
He's
give a
got-
shit. Give me super strength. Let me be able to hop over tall buildings in a single leap. I want to be that dude. Are you kidding me?
Doug's like, dude, right now, if I trip, I will fracture every bone in my body.
Yeah.
I actually need this.
Dude, Doug will be drinking bumbleberries looking like that at our funerals. Just be like,
Yeah,
So
he'll
we're-
outlive all of us with a bumbleberry.
Dude, Captain America couldn't even get drunk. That would be really the only downside, is apparently he couldn't get drunk.
So would you accept that? Obviously, that's something that matters you more.
Let's see. Be super ripped, have super regeneration, and live forever? Yeah, I think I'd take it.
But you'll never get, and you won't be able to get high. No weed.
Still would live forever. I'd take it.
Lies.
You wouldn't want to be
Doug
Captain
would
America?
He would go-
swallow a double barrel so quick.
He would go through so many attempts to try to. He'd be like sucking exhaust fumes. Just be like, "Dude, give me something. Give me something.
I just want to
This
feel
shit.
alive.
A 10-pack. Just give me something.
Get rattlesnakes biting his thigh. Something.
Come on. That would be
No, apparently Captain America got drunk off of Thor's special stuff that he had in that one movie, Age of Ultron. Thor had some super alcoholic stuff that got Captain America drunk.
Where would we be without
It's
your
like
insight?
Michael Jordan said, hey, do you want to know why they call him MJ? It was his initials.
No way.
Oh my God, that is
thought it was marijuana this
groundbreaking
whole
right
time.
there.
What were we
Closing
talking about?
thoughts. I guess World War III was happening and it isn't.
I
We
think
turned it
Doug
on.
just nailed the closing thoughts.
Nobel Peace Prize. Put it back on the table. All I'm saying is I was on that wave where bro lost me. It was, we have a problem here. Boss baby is the boss of our whole country, and I got a problem with that. And you need to step up. Wasn't stepping up. Calling for regime change. Possibly, like Will suggested, playing the game of chicken. But as the dust settles, I can't say it ended with him on the wrong side of this. It's still developing. I'm sure we'll probably have some updates and recaps when it comes to next Tuesday, because as we're going live, things are continuing to develop. But hopefully, I think my wrapping thought is all of this we're throwing at you. I think no matter what polarizing side of the aisle you're on, the one thing we should all naturally share is that there is a hope that this ends safely, communicably, and everybody gets to go to their own corners and we move on from this. And it doesn't cost us lives and millions of dollars. I think that's the only thing we should care about. Will, wrapping thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, in line with what you said, I think Trump went in playing a game of chicken, and then Boss Baby was like, "No, this is an actual chicken fight." He's like, "No,
Chicken jockey!
Yeah, no. Like, I genuinely think that was Boss Baby, and Trump's in the corner like, "No,
Nope,
no,
nope.
What is he? What the F is he doing?" So I'm praying. I think we're all praying for no further escalation, and I got to be honest, I don't think there is. I don't think there is going to be. I think this morning, there was a bull in a china shop outside the Oval Office.
There was an angry dad.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you that I've seen my father like that when I've snuck down to play PlayStation 2 as a kid, and it's not fun. It's not. And let me tell you, I never won. I never won after that.
Doug, give me a bite of your wrapping thoughts.
Dude, please outdo what you just did.
Well,
Don't say bitch.
I don't think I can. But I remember the days when we thought World War III would be between like the Soviet Union and all of Europe. And right now, we're all thinking World War III is about to start between two of the smallest countries that no one can give a shit about. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
And that's why I
Doug
didn't
said
buy
it,
it.
not me.
But that's why I didn't buy into it. I was like, these other countries that back these other ones, it's like, they're not going to get involved.
They're not starting
They're
World
not
War
owned
III.
by Boss Baby like we are.
They're
They won't care.
Strictly pissed off. China was like, dude, when he heard Iran was going to close that canal, he was like, don't do that. Don't do that. You know, you're not the global economy.
Yeah.
You just piss us off.
And that's the thing. China's too big right now. Like, you think they're going to risk us, their biggest trade partner, for Iran?
Yeah.
Nah.
And Trump is thinking the same thing with Boss Baby Nation. And it was like, if it was Taiwan, it'd be a different conversation.
Yep.
It'd be a completely different conversation, but it's not, because we have a mutual understanding with them about what Taiwan is. Over there, it's a bunch of beehives popping off, always beehives popping off. And it's like, I'm not putting boots on the ground for this.
No.
Not again, especially not after 2 decades ago.
Exactly. So, guys, we appreciate you joining us. The whole purpose of the live show is to get you involved. I want to thank Just Another Day TV and what do we got here? Jack Devani and all the Gladiator
Henry
I
Milton.
saw joined us.
Henry Milton.
Yeah, Henry Milton. So cheers to everybody that joined us, because the whole purpose of the live show is to get you involved. We want to add multiple dynamics and perspectives to the show so we can, break out of our echo chamber, rethink a little bit. But again, if we made you laugh, if we made you think, the best thing you could do to support what we're doing here is share that link. If you liked it, then someone else will too. And we got algorithms stacked against us that just don't want us talking about the truth and very interesting and engaging topics like this. So what you can do to help us is share that link. Otherwise, guys, we're here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Doug and I also do a Sunday show. It's not always live, but we've been having a blast with it on our Rethink Actions channel. It's our reactions channel where this summer series, we're checking out hilarious AI videos. We've done DC Comics, we've done Marvel, next week Star Wars, and the series continues. So be sure to join us. We've got all these different programs across the different platforms, and you can find it in one central place, and that's at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. So again, we greatly appreciate you joining us. Be sure to hit the like and the subscribe so you don't miss us on the future. But otherwise, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.